and welcome to this week's Culture Conversations. I'm Danielle Peters, and as always, I'm sharing a reflection of real conversations I've had with leaders over this past week. What I'm noticing, what I'm learning, and what it might mean for you and your team. This week really got me thinking because I had conversations with leaders at completely different stages of their journey, but they were all facing the same core issue: culture. And more importantly, what happens when we ignore it versus what's possible when we get it right. Earlier this week, I spoke with a small family-owned service, and honestly, this one really hit me. They were super amazing people, and you could tell that they really cared deeply about their team and the service that they built and the children and the families that they had connected with over the years. But right now, they're exhausted, and they're being pulled in every direction, and staff demands are increasing, costs are blowing out, and the pressure is building. And in that conversation, something really heavy came up. They said, we're seriously starting to think about selling. Not because we don't love what we've built, but because it feels unsustainable. And this is what I want more leaders to understand. You don't get to that point overnight. It happens slowly. One extra shift, one extra yes, one more accommodation, one more, oh, we'll figure it out, until one day it's just not working anymore. And the truth is, if you keep saying yes to everything, you eventually say no to your own sustainability. Then later in the week, I caught up with one of our current clients, and this team had been dealing with a lot. And instead of continuing to push through our content and stay on track and push through the overwhelm, we slowed everything right down, and we started asking better questions. What's actually happening in your culture right now? What are you seeing? What are you tolerating that you say you don't want? Because until you see it, you can't change it. And this was a real shift for them, from reacting to becoming what I call culture investigators. Not judging, not blaming, just getting clear. And once you have that clarity, you can finally start to move forward with intention. And then I had a completely different conversation. I onboarded a brand new client again this week, and this one felt very different. She hasn't even opened the doors of her center yet, but culture, it's already at the top of her list. And she's extremely experienced early learning leader, but this is her first time setting up her own service. And she said something that really stood out to me. She said, I don't want to clean up a mess later. I want to build this right from the beginning. And that right there is what sets great leaders apart. Because what I see all the time is this: culture gets pushed down the list. There's always something more urgent. They build the builds that's going on, the approvals, the staffing, the policies, and culture becomes a thing we'll get to later. But later is usually when it becomes a problem. And here's the real question. Are you being reactive with your culture, or are you being intentional? Because this week showed me three very clear realities. Some leaders are at breaking point. Some are starting to see what needs to change, and some are making the decision to do it right from the start. And no matter where you are right now, the truth is the same. Culture doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. So if you're sitting there right now feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, or like things just aren't where they should be, or even if you're at the very beginning and want to get this right, this is your moment to pause and ask, what culture am I actually creating right now? And more importantly, what am I going to do about it? Because doing nothing, that has a cost. And this week, I saw exactly what that cost can look like. And if you're ready to take control of your culture and build something your team actually wants to be a part of, reach out. I'd love to support you and guide you along this journey. But until then, keep blooming.